All right, good day, everybody. We're going to be starting here momentarily. We're just giving people time to get in. I hope you guys had a wonderful day so far. Monday, July the 15th, 2024. Time keeps moving, man. We're going to be out of July in a minute. So we're just waiting here. We're just going to give more people time to come in because what I don't want to do is be repeating myself. So also, just to let you know, we will have at the end of this broadcast, we will give people opportunity to call in as well. And so just give me a heads up on that, okay? All right. Just going to give people another, let's say, 2 minutes, and then we're going to get started. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Another broadcast here for you. Very grateful that you guys are here. I hope you guys having a wonderful day so far. And I'm sure that at the end of this broadcast, it will continue to be a wonderful day. And that's why we're here to continue the continuity. I know that's you repeat the same word, but we want to continue it to being a wonderful day for us. But you know, from time to time, you know, there's you may encounter some things that has to be addressed, has to be dealt with, and all of that. And trust me, we're not making this into a big thing because it honestly isn't. I don't even know how our name even got sucked into this, whatever this is that's going on. But we're going to talk about it because I think it serves as a very, very good segue to everything that we have been talking about on this platform as it relates to the moves that Hebrews make, you know, the very shady stuff that goes on. We've talked about all of that. And this is coming from someone who used to be within the Hebrew world and witness a lot of this stuff happening. And so we're also talking from personal experience. So anyway, so today we're going to address this individual that has a penchant for doing these call out videos on different people, on different ministries and things of that nature. And, you know, because they feel as if they are been selected by God himself to do that. You know, they do these videos and it's like very ominous, like, oh, judgment is coming on the land. I tell you, it's, you know, one thing about Hebrews, they love calling judgment on everybody but themselves. But this is, you know, but we're going to take a closer look at this individual here. And we're just going to simply lay out the information that's already out here on social media. There's nothing that I'm going to be adding, no speculations, nothing of the sort. We're just going to put it out as is so that, and then whatever you want to do with it, it's completely up to you. All right. So that's how we're going to do it. So let me just check something real quick before we get started here. And then we're going to go ahead and jump in and get on with our broadcast today. Okay. Hold on for just a second here. Okay. All right. We're good. All right. Good. All right. So what we're going to do now is, so this individual that we're talking about, I have to say, I'm going by, this is the name that she puts out, Malkah Norwood. Okay. Malkah Norwood. But, you know, you got to understand, too, when you're dealing in the Hebrew space, you know, people will oftentimes put another name up, so not their government name. So I'm not sure exactly if that's her accurate name or not, but you know, but we're just going to go with it because that's what she put out. Okay. So we're going to go right into it. So anyway, I'm going to play for you the audio. I'm not going to play the video. And as we do this broadcast, I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to play the video. Okay. But I will play the audio of this individual. Again, she is a Israel-based singer. She's a black woman that I guess relocated to Israel. She used to live here in the States, but then she ran off to Israel because I guess she believes that that is the promised land. And by looks at a lot of stuff that she puts online, she has really invested into that, you know, that narrative that Israel, what we call the state of Israel today, she believes that that is the promised land for black people. Okay. So you take that for what it's worth. So anyway, she was based here in the United States and then she relocated out there. She's put out a whole bunch of albums and things like that. So she's a singer. This woman is a singer. Okay. As far as I know, that's what she does. So what does a singer has? Why are you also putting out videos where you're calling out different people? I mean, that's what you see in the hip hop world. That's what you see rappers do. I thought you were a set apart singer. Why are you also doing this? And then what's also puzzling to me is that you just dropped an album or a single, whatever it is, whatever you just dropped, but you're doing this at the same time. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through chronologically some recent events that took place, but I'm going to first play for you the audio that she did in this video. I wasn't aware of it until today, but this video was posted like 6 days ago. Okay. And then she turned the comments off. Okay. Very conveniently. So let me play for you just the audio of what she was saying about myself and my wife, Nicole, you know, and I'll just say this, listen, you can say whatever you want about me, but once you put my wife in your mouth, you now have turned the situation to a whole nother situation. Now, I don't know if Malkah is used to that, but she's going to learn today. Okay. You don't do that. Okay. When there's a man in the house, that's what we do. Okay. So you don't do that. Okay. So let me play let me set it up for you. She has been putting out all these videos as of late about this ministry that we've talked about from time to time on this platform. Rebirth of a Nation, Hebrew nation building. And so they have some very interesting practices that they have been posting over the years, over the few short years, you know, what they do in their worship. I mean, they have like knives and different weaponry and hatchets and, you know, all kind of bows and arrows, all this kind of stuff. And we've actually talked about that. If for those of you who have a good or excellent memory, you will remember what we've said. I've said on this platform many, many times. I said, listen, I don't agree with that. That's not my thing. However, if that's what if I said to them, I was speaking to them directly. If that's what y'all want to do, my advice would be you need to take that offline. And the reason why I was saying that was because at that same time, you had a couple of stories that were hit national news of individuals that were claiming to be Hebrew Israelites that were committing crimes that involved a knife or a sharp object. And so here you're doing these praise and worship sessions with sharp objects. And I said, this is looking like every bit of a setup to me. And that's what I said. Now, as far as what those individuals want to do, if that's how they want to get down, that's on them. But I've never been a member of this ministry. I've never been connected in any significant way with this ministry at all. And so, but that's the extent of what I've said. Other than that, I've never pretended like I'm like in there with them and all that stuff because I never have been. Okay. But let me play for you just the audio of what she said, and then we're going to get into it further. All right. So let's go.
Even the name implies it. That's a lot of times where the Hollywood gets.
Let me go back.
And zombie.
Oh, let me go back. Let me go back.
Yeah. If we're joyous and happy and we've done the work of the Most High, they want to be like the Most High.
Okay. So she's talking about one of the leaders, he was doing some chanting stuff. It was very strange. And it sounded like he was conjuring up something. And so somehow what she did was she pulled up, was talking about, in zombie. You'll hear, and I'll explain more.
That before, let's continue reading. That seems to know how to summon me. That's exactly what happened. And how did they summon him? Or how did they summon this thing? By banging on drums night and day for hours and hours, by praying repetitious prayers hours and hours, by speaking in that jibber jabber for hours and hours, by dancing around and wielding swords for hours and hours. That's how they summoned this thing. And that's how they're going to continue summoning this thing on another level now, because they've gone public. They're doing this stuff on tours now. Listen, it says, no longer will I play with you. I will judge things quickly, for you called from me. That sounds to me like a dictator, an authoritarian. That doesn't sound like, yeah. Listen, wasn't this a feast day? We're supposed to be joyous and happy on a feast day. If we're joyous and happy and we've done the work, then Yah's well with us. And if we're at a feast day and we're not clean and we're not doing Yah's work, then he's going to come visit us with his vengeance. And so what happened? So I expect you to be in a certain place. You shall see my hand in your work. I will cause you to be a pillar in this nation until an appointed time. What the heck does that mean?
So she's actually quoting what one of the leaders, I guess they were given this word prophetically, and then what she's doing is giving her take on it. That's what you're hearing now. Okay, so just wanted to make sure everybody's on the same page. So let's continue.
Means that in Satan's kingdom, Satan's hand is going to be all over their work. That means they're going to be successful, because Satan is full of pride, and he will put on outward display his evil and his darkness. And that's what Hebrew divination has done. I have a covenant with rebirth of a nation. This thing, this dead spirit, this fallen angel has a covenant with Hebrew divination, building, rebirth of a nation. That's what the thing said. And that's what they're operating in. And if I make a covenant with you, it's only me who gives you the fruit of the land. So in my part 2 of the judgment against Hebrew divination building, they once had a spat with a couple named Dwayne and Nicole, otherwise known at the time Issachar. And there was some weird stuff happening online. People were saying different, calling Yah different names. One of those names was Nzambi. Nzambi was happening a lot around the awakening, where Nzambi was popping up here and there, even in my feed. People were saying that Yah's name was Nzambi. And this was a whole infiltration of Canaanite deities in the awakening. If you go online, or I really want you to take a look at the judgment part 2. I noticed a lot of people didn't really watch that as much as the part 1. Nzambi is the deity of the dead. I mean, even the name implies it. That's a lot of times where the Hollywood gets their scary movies, their horror movies from, is zombie. It's a dead spirit. And between Issachar or Dwayne and Nicole, they were in communion with each other, rebirth of a nation with them. And aside and next to Josh and Mo, Dwayne and Nicole, there was also Michael Israel, and they were all even Ron Dalton, they were all in tow with each other, and eventually there was a split. But in the midst of that, they were calling on Nzambi. They were playing with it. And so I am going to say, I strongly believe that the deity that they had summoned, that this man more specifically summoned, is Nzambi. It is a dead spirit.
Hold on for a second, y'all. Let's back all the way up. Okay, so like I said, so you heard her voice in that, okay? I'm watching the video, but, hearing her voice is enough there. And I promise you, we're going to keep it classy, but we're going to keep it factual, and you better believe we're going to be very firm on this, okay? So number one, just because now for me, I'm actually finding out the source of this lie that's been bouncing around the women folks of Israel. And they've been gossiping and saying this for a good minute. So this is coming straight from the mouth of the source, okay? So that I could be very clear, all right? And they, I'm sure, will confirm this. There was never any kind of, what you call it, kind of like connection, like we're working together as ministries or whatever, with Rebirth of a Nation. That never happened. Now, what we have done in the past, this is going way back, this is before they were doing the sword stuff, was that it was at that time, Ron Dalton and then also Rebirth, individual organizations, they were trying to raise up monies for their separate documentaries, okay? Backstory, Rebirth, they have their production company is called D28, which stands for, obviously, Deuteronomy 28. Under that used to be Ron Dalton. They were going to basically produce their documentaries under this. Now, if there was a split, there was a split between Ron Dalton and Rebirth, okay? That's where the split is. We were never officially a part of that at all, not even in the least. And it all of a sudden, if anything, the little involvement that we had at that time, they initiated by stop the communication altogether. Because what we were doing is because some of y'all who've been around for a minute, you remember we were helping to raise up money. We was using our platform and saying, hey, listen, let's get these documentaries out and all this other stuff. And, just kind of being cheerleaders. And no, we were not getting a dime from that. Okay. We didn't get no money from that, nor did we ask to get any money from that. Okay. Didn't want any credit, nothing like that, other than just wanting to see these things done. That's the extent of it. And that's it. And I will even go even further and tell you this. The documentary, the original documentary, going back to, now this is, what was it? Hebrews and Negroes, the first one. I had a conversation with Ron because everything from the first trailer for that movie, I actually did it. Now, I'm pretty sure most of y'all don't even know that, but he actually came to me initially to do that. He sent me all the video clips. I still have all of them. And I put together the trailer for it because he wanted to showcase it at something. And I said, sure, I have some background in this and I can do it. Now, I don't know if he actually used it or not, but I did. I put in a lot of hours of work to put that together. And then eventually he decided to roll with someone else, which was cool. I didn't care, but I just was doing my part. Didn't ask him for a dime. I didn't put no fee on it or anything like that. And then later on, once the documentary was done, he actually, I think he either messaged me or called me, one of the two, and he said, okay, because at that time our channel was called Issachar, and he said, okay, what name do you want me to put in the credits? I said, don't put any name. I don't want my name on it at all. And it wasn't because I hated him or disliked him or anything like that. I literally did not want my name to show up on anything because that's just kind of how I am. I just like helping people and then keeping it moving. I don't get any kind of rush seeing my name somewhere like that. I don't. You know what I'm saying? That was my whole thing. And he will verify that. Ron could verify that. Okay. Now, getting back to Rebirth, again, I had no involvement. That was the extent of our involvement with them. And that was it. And like I said, this is way before they start going into crazy land of the stuff that they're doing right now. We had no involvement. And the moment we started noticing things, we started talking about it. We immediately start pointing these things out. And then we just said, we're just going to leave it at that. You know what I mean? And that's it. If people want to follow that, that's up to them. People are grown. We're not going to get on here and tell people don't follow this channel and don't listen to them. Because people are grown and you can make your own decisions in your own mind on what you want to do. That's it. We were never in any kind of competition, nor did we see anything as such at all. There's some other things I could talk about, but I'm not going to get too deep into that. But that's the extent of any kind of meaningful relationship that we had. That was it. There was never any falling out, and we used to all be together. And then she said, Michael Israel. We never had, Michael Israel, I think, interviewed me. This is when he was first starting out. He was going around interviewing everybody. Michael Israel now is with Straightway. And he did an interview. I think it was either just with me or myself and Nicole, not sure. And that was it. I never had any kind of meaningful relationship with him at all. So out the gate, this woman is lying, 100% lying. She's not even talking on facts. And here's the thing that, and so you're going to see as we go through this, you're going to start seeing a pattern of other lies that she told that people had to call out. Okay. So we're going to continue here. So yeah, so we're going to hit it, y'all. All right. So let me switch up here and then we're going to start going right to my slides here. Cause one thing about me, y'all, I stay ready. I stay ready. And the reason why is because I know how Negroes can move and operate. Negroes out here, they will switch up on you in a second. And so this is why I've learned a long time ago, you always got to stay ready with these folks. And so when I heard that she made that comment like that, I said, she messed with the wrong one. I'm not the one. So this is what we're going to go through. We're going to go through it and you're going to see for yourself. And we're going to take this thing. We're going to take you through the process. Okay. So I've seen some place where her name is Ashira, Malkah Norwood. All right. And I said, discount Israeli special agent. And there's a reason why I'm saying that. So when you see what's circled here, that's her. Now you notice the two white gentlemen in the back. Well, they're Jewish. And you're going to see a very interesting pattern developing as we're going through this. Okay. Now this other woman right here, we're going to talk about her very briefly. But when you're hearing Malkah, you're actually hearing from this woman right here. Okay. We've had run-ins with this woman as well, because she likewise has in the past put out some videos and she's like all over the place and talking about, oh, judgment, 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 everybody's judgment. Then she's got a whole history behind her as well. Okay. And I believe it's connected to Demona, the people of Demona, because you remember we've talked about Demona and those people that's one big cult. And apparently you have people who have splintered off and done and doing their own thing. Okay. See, you put too much. If you're going to run your mouth, at least run it where where you're not putting it online. I mean, this is anyway. So let's continue here. Okay. So this gentleman here, I don't know this guy at all. Okay. So I'm just going to be straight up. I don't know this guy. I don't know him. I've never met him. I don't know him. What I do know is that, I guess according to this now, dang, it's been that long. He put out a video, according to this, it says 2 months ago, where he was actually calling out Hebrew Nation building. All right. And he was doing that because he used to be a member of that ministry. Okay. Now that's very key here. He used to be a member of this ministry. She, to my knowledge, has never been a member of this ministry. All right. So it's going to bring up some more questions as we're going on here. And so he has since then has stayed on their neck and calling out stuff. All right. You know, as far as that ministry is concerned. And so, you know, he's still been doing it. I think he did a live not too long ago and all of that. Right. And let me see. So it started this recent round. It really started with him. Okay. In terms of him calling out, you know, Rebirth. Since then, he's done these other videos as well. And so we'll go here. Then it was this video right here under this channel, this couple. I believe he filmed it. This couple here. We actually linked to part 2. All right. Part 2 was the video that we linked. There's part 1, 2, and 3, but it was part 2 is the one we linked to because I felt like that had a significant amount of information in there or whatever. And again, this is coming from firsthand info. These are people who used to be part of that ministry and are giving firsthand accounts of their experience. This is coming from them. Okay. And what I noticed under the first video, part 1, was that Malkah left a comment. And she basically said, thank you. It said something to the effect like, thank you for posting this. Right. And what's so interesting is When I go back under the videos, and then later on, guess what happened? As soon as she left that, it wasn't too long ago. It wasn't too long after that, she started coming out with her own videos calling out Rebirth. Now, remember, I just said to you, to my knowledge, she has not been a member of this ministry. So how in the world are you all the way in Israel acting like saying that you got receipts on a ministry that you have never been a part of? And why is it so it's interesting to me that you're coming out with all these videos at the same time this dude was? It literally was like she was like shadowing him. And then when she posted her video, and I think she actually posted a link to her video under there. And so today I said, you know what? Let me go back and screenshot all of that. Because see, when it comes to screenshots, I know some of y'all are good at screenshot. I am too. I don't play. I try to capture everything. Most of the photos I got in my phone are screenshots. I don't play. I mean, stuff I see on Twitter, whatever. I'm looking at everything. I mean, not just following these folks. I'm just saying it, just period, you know? Because sometimes people say stuff and then they're like, oh, snap, I shouldn't. Too late. I got it. Too late. So anyway, so I go back under the video and guess what? Well, all of a sudden the video's gone. It's gone. So, I mean, not the video, the comment is gone. Now all of a sudden it disappeared. Gee, I wonder why. So anyway, let's go ahead and continue. And so these are all the videos that she was putting out about Rebirth. All right. And I want you to pay close attention to this keyword she's using, the Pantheon of Hebrew divination building. All right. So we're going to talk about pantheons here in a moment, because there was something else she said that she don't know what she's talking about. She really doesn't. And so anyway, let me see what this next slide is. Okay. So what was also interesting was that while she's putting out these videos and calling out Rebirth, and then I think in part 2, she briefly said something about us. Again, we ain't got nothing to do with that ministry at all. But somehow she felt the unction to have to throw something on us. And then someone brought it to my attention, and I just I said, I ain't gonna bother with it. It's whatever. So it ain't no big deal, you know. But then she again came back. I was like, okay, all right, we're gonna have to take care of this real quick. But she started doing all these videos at the same time this brother was doing his stuff. Now, here's what really pisses me off about this, okay? And again, this has nothing to do with me. This man, if you listen to his testimony, coupled with the testimony of this couple that's talking about the horror show of events that they experienced, I mean, that's why it was so just wow. I was just saying, listen, y'all need to go hear that, because that sounds crazy. But it also, what they were saying, it wasn't just them. I've heard other people who came through that saying some of the same things. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't run and make no video about it. And I'm like, that's their truth and that's them. That was just information that was being shared to us. But it coincided with, and I'm talking about it was an individual even on the staff. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? And so anyway, so here's what really pisses me off about this is that this woman, Malkah Norwood, used the testimony of the trauma that these 3 individuals experienced in order to market her album that she was dropping. Because in the midst of all of her, she dropping all of these albums, I mean, all these videos, she was dropping, all of a sudden she's like, and don't forget, watch my, I got an album coming out. Hey now, Running Blind is now available worldwide. And so I'm sitting up here scratching my head like, okay, now I don't music person per se. I'm not, I've never been, I'm not a commercial music person. I mean, in my head I am, but that's about it. But I never heard of anybody doing a series of videos where you're actually defaming and calling out folks. And then at the same time, you're going to let people, you're dropping a new album or a new single, whatever it is. So I'm looking at this. I was like, this woman literally used the trauma of these individuals that they've experienced and that they desperately need healing from, just so that she can market her album. Now, you can't get any lower in that. And see, this coincides exactly the stuff that I'm saying. A lot of these Hebrews are nothing but vultures. They are. I'm going to tell you, because see, I told my wife, I said, listen, all it takes is one. All it takes is one, and then you're going to open Pandora's box on this. Because yes, I can, because I'm free and I'm go all the way there on some of these folks. And so anyway, you're going to use, when I say vultures, let me be very clear on this. When these people have this perception that you want to come up, everybody wants to be your friend. Everybody wants to be all up in with you. When Rebirth was doing their thing, when they were getting their documentary together, now this is right around the same time they were doing their documentary, they would start doing, low key was doing that worship stuff. Okay. They were doing that. And so I'm scratching my head looking at this stuff and I'm like, it's really interesting that nobody's pointing that out. You want to know why a lot of people weren't pointing that out? The usual suspects that would call that out is because part of that is that they were trying to be a part of the documentary. So everybody wanted to look the other way. When they felt like, okay, they look like they on the come up, so we ain't gonna say no, we're gonna look the other way. In the meantime, during that same time, you know what we were doing here? We started going further and saying, you know what, all this Hebrew stuff, it just ain't ringing right. It just, historically, it's not lining up. So we started going a little bit further and deeper and began to start looking at our African lineage, and more specifically, Bantu. We start looking at the Bantu culture, because for many of us that came through the transatlantic slave trade, we came out of Central and Southern Africa, okay? So quite naturally, you want to look at what their belief systems were, right? We want to look at that. We want to look at what they were really talking about. We're not going to just throw on there that they were Hebrews. No, we want to know factually what they're talking about and what they believed, right? And so we had the guy, his name is Mello, Pastor Mello, okay? Now I got to get into that briefly, okay? Now, Pastor Mello, he came to us. Initially, what he was sharing with us was 100% historical information. He wasn't getting into anything else. It was 100% historical information. And it was so helpful, we actually had him on our platform. There was nothing hidden about what we were doing. It was open. It was open for anybody to listen in. And we also had opportunities for people to call in if you had any questions. If you had any questions about anything he was saying at all, that's it. It was a listening. It was a time to listen, to take in, and then later on, we will go back and say, okay, now let's dissect this, right? So we're listening, we're taking in the information. One of the things that came up, he was talking about how people in the central and southern parts of Africa, you have pockets of people that refer to God or the creator God, as in zombie. All right. If you look up in zombie, yes, you are going to find some people who will use that God's name for other reasons, like in worship, in voodoo, you'll see in zombie's name invoked and all that. You'll see that. But you will also see in zombie mentioned and I told people, I said, this is very simple. You can do this yourself. As you see on the screen, you have people, these are Christians that refer to God. They have gospel music and they don't say Jesus, they don't say God. in their culture, and this is in the first one's in Uganda. You'll see a lot of this in Uganda. They will refer to God or the supreme God as Nzambi. Now, when I say supreme God, don't get scared. That's just their, when you look at the actual history behind Nzambi and where that comes from and all of that, you'll see that it aligns with many of the attributes and the characteristics of how God is described in the Bible. Okay. Now, but we were not, at the same time, we were very adamant and said, listen, we are not telling people you need to go and you need to start using the name Nzambi and all that stuff. We adamantly told people, listen, if that's what's comfortable for you, you do it. If you want to stick to Yahweh or whatever it is, that's you. Okay, what we're not going to do is become some different offshoot religious cult where we're saying that you got to call this name or call that name. We never did that. We left it wide open. But what we did was we showed accurately and historically that our people that came from that part of Africa, they didn't say Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. They didn't say Yahweh. That was never in the language of our people that came from Central and Southern Africa. And we proved this over and over and over and over again. And in fact, let's go even further. Rebirth made it very clear. Their leader, Morris Williams, he made it very clear. Someone brought up in one of his lives Nzambi, or what was it, Bantu? He was like, I don't want to have nothing to do with no Nzambi or nothing like that. They definitely weren't trying to have nothing to do with anything that had to do with Bantu. They didn't want to have nothing to do with Nzambi. They were very adamant to that. Very, very adamant. See, these are the facts, Malkah, that you don't know because you didn't ask. You're simply repeating what your handler is telling you. Okay. Yes, I'm talking to you and your handler in the background. All right. But again, this is what these people over here, that's how they address them. However you want to address them or don't address them at all, that's up to you. But I have enough respect for the culture to say, you know what, that's them. You understand what I'm saying? We even talked about the Congo cosmogram a little bit. We got into that and how that's tied to that. Some pockets throughout Central and Southern Africa, they don't say Nzambi, they'll say Nyame. Okay. And there's other different various spellings of it. The characteristics will vary, but it's all kind of tied into the same thing. You know what I mean? For the most part, this deity is seen as the supreme deity. See, the thing with these Hebrews is they will tell you straight up, they don't want to have nothing to do with nothing to do with Africa. They think Africa is full of voodoo, witchcraft, demonic activity, but all of them at the end of the day want to live near Mr. Epstein. They all want to live in Israel at the end of the day. See, that's the thing. They don't want to see, they'll talk trash about Africa, and they will try to, and when they're telling the story, they always tell the story like, well, we were just briefly there. When they had their gatherings and stuff, a lot of times they're wearing African gear, but at the same time, they spit on Africa and say they're a bunch of Hamites. See, you can't have it both ways. And so anytime African culture comes up, it comes up within the context of that's when we were in our fallen state. And so once I began to notice that, that's when I really start getting pissed off. I was like, hold on now, hold on. Now, this is our history here now. Now, if factual history doesn't line up to what you're saying, then I regret to inform you, but I can't rock with you. That's when my eyes start getting open to a lot of things. Now, I may have my disagreements with people on the continent on certain things, but at the end of the day, I realize that when you go through your lineage, that's where my lineage goes. You understand what I'm saying? Period. There's no question on that. But these people really have a hard time with that. They don't like Africa. They can't stand Africa. They can't stand Africans. The only Africans they like are the Igbo people. And you want to know why they like the Igbo people? Because the Igbo people love the Ashkenazi people. See, you don't want me. I'm not the one here today. I'm not the one here today for you. Okay. The Igbo people, you want to know why there's all this embracing of the Igbo people? Because the Igbo people embrace the Ashkenazi people. Most of them do. But nobody wants to talk about that. Same thing with the Ethiopians. You want to know why everybody's like, oh, the Ethiopian Jews. We're back at that again. You got to go back to the beginning of how that all began in America, in Harlem. We talked about how the Ethiopian movement, we talked about, the commandment keepers and some of these other early black Israelite congregations. Their emphasis was on the fact that they believed that they were part of the Ethiopian branch of Israel. So they never looked at the Jews of Israel as the fake people. They never did that, and they never will. Why? Because they believe they're part of them. I told you, a tree will never abandon its roots. It will never abandon its roots. And like I said in my last post, anybody out here that's teaching or pushing this whole Ethiopian stuff, it all ties in to that movement, period. So again, like I said, we had nothing to do with that and never will. And we made that clear 100%. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue with this here. Let me see what else I had here. Okay. All right. So real quick here. So we pretty much cleared all that up as far as, they had a big falling out. We never had a falling out because there was no falling out to have in the first place. So you're a liar. You're 100% a liar. All right. So now we're going to start looking a little bit closer we're going to look at one other thing you mentioned, and then we're going to start looking at you. Okay. This is stuff that you put out. All right. Now, she mentioned about how Nzambi is a Canaanite deity. See, again, number one, you got to know your history. And clearly you don't. Because Nzambi is all the way in Central and Southern Africa. The Canaanites were not anywhere near there. The Canaanites were in the Levant, okay, which is where we call today Israel, Jordan, and Egypt and all that. That was Canaan, okay? So no, there was no Canaanite activity like that down there, period, end of discussion, okay? So she's saying that Nzambi was a Canaanite deity, which is 100% off and wrong, and you will not be able to find any sound and respectable historian even coming close to making that claim. All right. But what we have established on this platform over and over again is that Yahweh is part of the Canaanite pantheon. Remember, I said she used the word pantheon. So I'm saying, okay, let's go to the pantheon that she gives honor and praise to. Okay. So this is on the left-hand side. What you'll see is from her YouTube page, on her community page, where she's like, judge me, O Yahweh, for I have walked in my integrity. I have trust also in Yahweh. Therefore, I shall not slide. And anyway, and it goes on, right? And then she got right here in circle, just for extra emphasis, Yahweh. Okay, so she's very clear on who she worships. Now, on the right-hand side, these are just a couple of academic studies or books that are done by people who have done the homework, who have done the research. This is just two examples. Well, actually three. Yahweh and the gods and goddesses of Canaan. Yahweh and the gods of Canaan. All right. And then down here, like I said, Wikipedia, people say, well, you're just using Wikipedia. Wikipedia ain't nothing. Listen, Wikipedia, yes, it can be very iffy. However, Wikipedia does, in fact, contain a whole lot of links that you can click on to verify what it's saying, what is being said is accurate. So no, it's not. Wikipedia isn't something you can simply throw the whole thing in trash. You should be able to verify it. And with these two examples that I have right here, I just did. So let's look at what Wikipedia says on this. Every time I challenge people to look these things up, they don't. I don't understand that. I mean, it only takes a couple of seconds to look this up. I literally don't understand why it's so hard to look this up. I literally don't. I mean, because this will squash so much stuff, but people won't look up. I don't know why. Anyway, let's look at what it says here. All right. So they says Yahweh was an ancient Levantine, hope I'm saying that right, deity and a national god for the Israelite kingdoms of Israel and Judah. Though no consensus exists regarding the deity's origins, that's true, right? Scholars generally contend that Yahweh is associated with Seir Edom, and Teman, and later with Canaan. The origins of his worship reach at least to early Iron Age and likely the late Bronze Age, if not somewhat earlier. In the oldest biblical literature, he possesses attributes typically ascribed to weather and war deities. Now, this is very interesting. War deities. How do you think you would worship a war deity with swords and well, did I say? Oh, shoot. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, and war deities. Okay, so, and they said he fructifying the land and leading the heavenly army against Israel's enemies. The early Israelites were polytheistic and worshiped Yahweh alongside a variety of Canaanite gods and goddesses, including El, Asherah, and Baal. So you are the one that's worshiping a Canaanite deity. I'm not. And you're going to have to figure that one out. You also, for bonus points, you may want to look up Hebrew language in of itself. The Hebrew language was heavily influenced by Canaanites and other groups that were in the Levant. Okay. All right, let's go on. Now, she has a history. This woman, Malkah Norwood, has a very, very messy and very public history. Okay. When I first heard about her, she's a singer. She was doing this song, that Shema song, Shema Israel. Okay. She didn't write that. In case, I'm not saying she claimed that, but I'm just letting other people know who may think that she did not write that. Okay. She didn't write that. That's a song that goes all the way back. It's in the Bible. I think it's mentioned in the Bible, but the tune itself is one that you can go on YouTube right now and find a whole lot of Ashkenazi singing that. She just added some black seasoning to it. That's all she did. Okay. And so she was used to be with this, it's a ministry out in California called the ARC, Awakening Remnant Coalition. Now, they used to be, it was a husband and wife that headed that, and I don't think they're no longer together. It was very public, very messy stuff that was going on. But in the middle of all of that, Malkah was in the middle of all this. And she was posting a whole lot of videos of herself and her public meltdown. See, don't come for somebody when you got a record like this. You make it too easy. You make it way too easy. See, just a pro tip. If you're having a meltdown, don't go online to melt down, because online is forever. Okay. But among the things that she was talking about exposing, she was talking about different things that she saw in the ministry and some of the things that they were doing and all of this stuff and how they made her do certain things. They started talking about, then she started getting into some of the things that she was being tempted with in the sexual world and all of this other stuff. It was very messy and very embarrassing. And I was like, well, dang, what? Someone take the phone from this woman. And she was putting all of this stuff out. And then she finally hooked up with this one individual. And I guess that, she got her stuff together a little bit. And then eventually she started taking those videos down. But it was very clear, like I said, whatever it was, bipolarism, I don't know what it was. But it was very clear this woman was having a complete and utter breakdown. And like I said, she was just calling these people out in this ministry. I'm talking about in the ARC ministry. Just calling them out, dragging them, saying all kinds of stuff. And then she started dragging her own marriage. She started talking about her husband. She started putting all of this stuff out on Main Street. See, Malkah, again, you want to market your new album, but then you want to come after me. Why? You're not going to, your market ain't going to work for you. It ain't going to work. This ain't the way to market your stuff. Okay. So anyway, So she got a history with that. Like I said again, literally just putting all of this mess out here on Main Street, all of it out. Facebook, YouTube, all of that. And if I had, and I'm gonna be honest with you, if I had the videos, I wouldn't even play them because they're that embarrassing. I said, this woman really needs to get some professional help. I don't know if she ever did or not. Apparently she didn't. All right, so this is what she posted. And now this is a pattern that we're going to see here. Now, here we go again. Just like I showed you in this photo right here. Here you got the Israeli Jews. You got the Ashkenazis behind her. And here we go again. Another, they always popping up, aren't they? Well, you're going to see even more in a minute. Always popping up. And here's Malkah right here. You see me circling. And then here's her friend right here. This is her little handler, girlfriend person right here on the side here. Okay. And they're in the studio. Well, let's take a look at what she says here in here right here. Okay. Let's go ahead and read it. Okay. Shall we? All right. Baruch Hashem, Yahweh Eloah. I had a wonderful time recording the renowned djembe master. And then she names his name from Burkina Faso for a couple of records on our upcoming music album. Okay, sounds pretty exciting. So humble and inspiring work with Toda. Thank you to my friend and fellow musician, Rand Gerson. All right, well, his handle is Rand Gerson Music. Here in Israel, for welcoming us to record at his studio. And to my sister in Yah, Talia, who has a powerful vision to help create set-apart music for our Father in heaven, Yah Yireh El Shaddai. I'm back with the praises of Yah, Yasharel. It's an honor to work with these incredibly talented souls. There's more brewing to serve. Hallelujah. Okay. Hold on, let me get this here. Hold on for a sec. Is that on? I think my power strip went out. Okay. Okay, so now let's take a look at this Rand Gerson person. So I happen to look at, now remember now, she said that let's go back again. She said, thank you to my friend and fellow musician, Rand Gerson, here in Israel for welcoming us to record at his studio. Oh, let's take a look at Rand Gerson. Let's learn a little bit about him. Oh no. Oh no. Wait a minute here. Hold on for a second. Sounds of Kundalini. Set apart. I don't get it. Yes, this is from his Facebook page. So he's into this, sound stuff, that how sounds can heal you and all that stuff. And we talk about that here, and there's nothing wrong with that. Wait a minute here. Hold on. Sounds of Kundalini. Wait a minute. Maybe I read that wrong. Hold on. Let's go back here. Let's go back here. All right. So humble, inspiring work with Toda. Thank you to my friend and fellow musician, Rand Gerson Music, here in Israel for welcoming us to record at his studio. Sounds of Kundalini. Oh, that's interesting. Kundalini. So, hold on. So on your YouTube page, under your community page, you mentioned set apart music. So help me out here. So let's go back, okay? Because I like kind of how the detective shows how they had the board and they draw and things. Okay, that's what we're doing here. So you said that we're worshiping a god of the dead. That's what you accuse us of, right? In Zombie, you said that over here, Nicole and I are worshiping the god of the dead, and that we're encouraging people to do that. That's what you said, right? Okay, so you said that that's what we were doing. But then you, at the same breath, you're saying you're giving all honor and praises to Yahweh. So we just looked at Yahweh is the Canaanite deity that you said that we were worshiping. Okay. But now you're saying, okay, in this post, you're talking about creating set apart music, but you're creating set apart music at a man that is into Kundalini. How does that even work? How does that even work? How does that even work? See, how are you going to say that you were saying we're bringing stuff into the awakening. Let me just address the whole awakening BS. Let me just say that, because when I tell you I'm so tired of hearing that, there was never an awakening. Let's be clear with that. When you're dusty behind people, I'm talking about people who keep saying this stuff, are bringing the same demonic activity that we see in the church that's not producing anything, that's not building anything. The people are still poor. The people are still angry. The people are still sick. The people are still dying. The people are still confused, and they're all over the place. That's not an awakening. That's confusion. So stop calling it an awakening, because there never was an awakening. What you entered into is the twilight zone. That's what we're going to start calling it. It's the twilight zone. It's not the awakening. It's the twilight zone. So take your pick which episode you want to fit in, because it don't matter. You in the twilight zone. You just entered the twilight zone. Dun, 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 dun. That's what it is. It's the same stuff. It's the same churchy stuff. It's the same gossipy. We gonna say this behind closed doors, that. And brother, then why we gotta say this all out like this? Did you go in? You should have talked to her in secret. Especially talking to a woman in secret. I ain't doing that. No, you posted this publicly. I'm responding publicly, and you can keep your scriptures on that one. Okay, that's how you brought it out in the street. Now we're dealing with street scriptures here, okay? The first book of Dwayne. This is how we handle it, okay? You should have left it alone. You should have left me out of it. You should have left my wife out of it, most importantly. She ain't got nothing to do with you. And incidentally, let me just say this too, because I forgot to mention this. She even acknowledged this. What's her name? Malkah. She even acknowledged that she reached out to my wife, which she did. When she was going through her whole breakdown of confusion or whatever, she actually reached to my wife. My wife actually didn't even respond back to her. Because, stuff is getting wild like that. Sometimes you want to take your time, like, hold on, let me back off. Let me back up for a second. So here's another thing that's worth asking. So if we're so demonic and we're worshiping the God of the dead, then why did you come to us for help? Why did you come to us? Why did you come to my wife for help if you believe that we were worshiping the God of the dead? Makes no sense, does it? Because you actually made reference to, I reached out to them. Then why reach out to us? And in the same breath, you're going to say, but they were bringing strange stuff in the awakening. In the twilight zone. Sorry, I have to correct myself. Why did you reach out to us if we were so off here? Let me share something else with you here. And this is something I've said before, but I want to be very clear with this. I want to be, be quiet. Talking about street church. Okay, you really stretched on that one. You really stretched on that one, man. Anyway, let me share this with you. Okay, let me share this with you. Man, see, you made me lose my train of thought. Okay, here we go. What was I going to say? Oh, okay. And I touched on this before, but I want to be very clear on this. When we first started noticing Rebirth, and they were putting all these swords and knives and all the bows and arrows and steak knives, whatever the heck they had going on there, we were the only ones that I'm aware of that publicly pointed this stuff out and said, y'all, listen, you may not want to have any association with that simply because of the activities that were going on in the news at that time. But all these other Hebrew ministries that were around, they got real quiet. They didn't say anything. You know what they were doing? They were too busy talking about us and saying that they bringing in zombie and they talking about worshiping with Pastor Mello and all that stuff. Oh yeah, I never finished with the Pastor Mello story. Let me finish that because I've talked about that before. I've even put the whole video out and made everything open so everyone can see it. But it's really strange and odd that the people who like running their mouths about that whole episode, they never go back to watch those things because everything was open. So anyway, so this man by the name of Pastor Mello was putting, it was all historical stuff, right? For the most part. And he started getting at some of the spiritual stuff. He started going a little bit deeper with it. And then we start, we're going to back off just a little bit. The historical stuff, we're with you. But some of this other stuff, like he was talking about some angels and something he saw. It was like, I could show you some pictures. Nicole and I, we were like, oh, okay. But at that point, we kind of kept our distance. And what was happening during that time, you had other people that were popping up who were also saying, what's the latest vibe right now in the Hebrew space? Oh, Bantu, let me get on this. Let me get on this. So you had people popping up. There's this woman, some of y'all may know her. She calls herself a queen or something like that. Now she's from Cameroon and she calls herself, she's a queen in Cameroon, but she lives in Texas. Make it make sense. Make it make all the way sense. She lives in Texas, but she's a queen in Africa. I'm telling you, the amount of stories that we have, it's something. We've talked about that individual too. Because they were going around, all of a sudden they start saying all this crazy stuff about us. I was like, hold on, I don't even know you. What are you talking about? And so anyway, long story short, so you had different ones coming in and it was a bunch of stuff that was going on, a lot of crazy stuff that was going on. And so I was like, hold on for a second now. Now y'all coming in, but they at the same time, it was almost like they didn't like the fact that we were really laying the whole history and talking about, Bantu culture and all that. And again, we were not talking about Bantu culture as someone who lives on the continent because clearly we don't. So we would have people who are familiar with that culture. We would have them on our platform, or we would have the video playing or books or whatever that's where we were going. We weren't speaking like we were some freaking experts because we were not. We had to go to the source. We had to listen to the people. And by getting that information, we was like, oh, this kind of coincides. But they didn't like that. You had this whole group of folks that didn't like that. And so, and they were like, no, we're the ones that's supposed to educate. Like, whatever. I don't care. But then they start going off at some other stuff. And then all of a sudden, then what came out, because by this time we left Mello all the way alone. We just left him alone because there was stuff that we started noticing from a character nature. We started noticing with him. See, I don't mind talking about all this stuff because we've already talked about this. And what came out, he was a bigamist. And what does bigamy mean? It basically means when you're marrying other people and you're not telling your first spouse that you're married. And we found out he was doing that. We found out that he was like trying to hit on some of the sisters and stuff out there. We start all this stuff start coming to the surface. And once we heard about it, we immediately did a whole video, talked about it. In fact, it was on Periscope at that time. Periscope isn't around again, but I uploaded it on YouTube, somewhere on YouTube. But yeah, it came out. He was doing that stuff. He was calling these sisters and all that. Like, I got a vision for you and all this other stuff. And we called him all the way out on that. We called him out, and there was some other people, his associates. We called them out as well. I mean, we showed text messages, everything, pictures. We showed the whole nine, and we made it very clear we don't want to have nothing to do with these people. We made it very clear on that. See, we don't. It's nothing to hide here. You understand what I'm saying? So we put all of that out. I mean, one time we had some idiots that were lying and saying that they don't say nothing. We've been put it out. Here's the video. Okay. And so anyway, what else happened? Okay. So and then the last thing I heard was that they had the whole buying the land stuff. We're gonna buy land in Africa and we're gonna raise up, but we just need to raise up some money because this is the promised land. See, y'all, I done heard the stories. I've been down this road so many times. That's why when I hear people now, they talking about you got to move to Africa. All the move to Africa stuff now, you do you. But this whole thing, I said, listen, now again, if you are someone that want to move to Africa, that's you. Enjoy yourself. But don't do it in the name of religion. Don't do it, or don't do it in the name of, I got to escape America BS. Don't do that. And what these individuals did, it was a group of individuals. I don't know these folks, but they got together, put their money. Now, this is after I did a video and made it very clear that this dude, from a character standpoint, is way off. And we even went further and looked at his ministry that he was associated with in Angola. We took a whole view of that and showed everything that they put online. And what wasn't written in French or whatever, we translated and put that up there too. And showed how they were tied to certain things and all that. We put all of that stuff. You know how we do here. It made it very clear. And even with all of that, you still had people that said, I'm going to send my money over there. And from when my memory serves me correctly, I think it was a tune, this group, it was a tune of close to $40,000, if I'm not mistaken, that they sent over there so that they can buy land in the promised land. It was between $20,000 and $40,000. I'll just put it that way. I think it was like more like 40. Well, you know how that story ends. You know that song, 'cause I'm saying bye-bye. That money gone. That money gone. And one of the people, they actually reached out to me. They was like, well, can you meet with us so we can figure out how we're going to get this back? I was like, I don't know what I'm going to tell you. I've been told y'all leave this man alone. And so every now and then you get people that try to come our way and say, see, it's your fault. You led them there. And I also told people, listen, you investigate everything we present. You investigate it yourself, ask questions. As we see things, we'll make it public immediately. But don't just rely on us. It's on you as well. See, that's that lazy stuff. It's like you always want to pass the buck on somebody. Nah, we put everything out and you still followed it. I'll tell you, it's something. All right, so let's continue here. So yeah, I had to go through all of that. Let's continue here because I'm not finished with her yet. You thought I was, oh, no. We're not finished with her yet. Let's continue here. Now this is something else she posted that's really interesting. This is what she posted here. Okay, she says, to the return remnant of Yahweh, we are commanded to memorialize our exodus out of Egypt into the wilderness where the children of Israel dwelt in booths. 7 days we shall dwell in a sukkah, booths built by hand and adorned. Okay, blah, 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 whatever, right? Okay, let me ask you something. Now, take a look up here. You know, this is, I think this is Instagram. Now, you know, Instagram, it will put the location of where you're Instagramming from, right? Now, she's in Egypt. So my basic question is, how are you celebrating the exodus out of Egypt in Egypt? That's like Jewish people going to the Holocaust place in wherever in Eastern Europe somewhere and having a barbecue. What sense does that even make? You supposed to be celebrating the exodus in Egypt, huh? I'm telling you, when I tell you it don't make any sense, it don't make any sense at all. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. How are you celebrating the exodus out of Egypt and you in Egypt? It just don't make it don't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, let's move on. All right, so now she's got videos. Now, I told you she's a singer. She's in Israel, based in Israel, I think, because sometimes she's in Egypt, sometimes she's in other places in that region. But I think she's based in Israel, as far as I know, okay? And so she's got videos of her in cafes singing and stuff like that. But what's interesting is that the audience is all white Jews. That's all the audience is. That's the audience that everyone she's singing to over there are white people. Wait a minute, I thought these people weren't the real people. But why you marketing to them? Why you singing in their cafes? She's in Tel Aviv, and next thing you know, you turn around, she's in another cafe and all of that, and singing and dancing with them and all of that. You got to make up your mind. In other words, how you talking about rebirth and black Americans here, but in the same breath, you over there singing and dancing to them? That don't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, we're going to keep going here. We're going to keep right on going here. Now, what you will see in this, because I can't play the video, because I'm going to show you why in a moment. Okay, I'm going to show you why in a moment, but not right now. But this is the messiness of this individual. This is what I'm talking about. Now, in this video right here, notice she put a watermark on here. Meat, No Milk Ministries. Meat, No Milk Ministries. All right, so when you look them up, I'll just say this. They are tied to this individual here, Talia Levy. All right, who's Talia Levy? She's this person right here. Okay. Because like I said, I call her the handler of Malkah Norwood, because a lot of stuff that Malkah is saying is coming straight from her. She's simply repeating what this woman is telling her to say. Okay. So let me show you real quick here. I think I left the site up. It's right. Hold on for a second. I'm looking for Meat, No Milk Ministries. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. It's right here. All right, here we go. Meat, No Milk Ministries is right here. And so here you go. So this is Meat, No Milk Ministries. Basically, in a nutshell, they teach the Hebrew language, right? That's all they do. I mean, it's nothing shady and nothing about this at all. It's just they teach the Hebrew language. Nothing wrong with that. If that's how you get down, you want to learn the Hebrew language, you can learn it. It's up to you. And here's their About Us page, right? You notice a common thread here is all women. All women. I told you the Hebrew movement is mostly a women's movement. There's nothing wrong with that per se. But you will find that, yes, it is predominantly a women's movement. And so they talk about how they were over there, been over there for a little bit, and they're teaching Hebrew. I guess if you want to learn, you can do it, and I'm assuming you do it on Zoom or whatever. But why am I bringing them up in this? I'm bringing them up in this because of the fact, going back to this right here, which is right here, Meat No Milk Ministries. When you I had screenshots on that. I'm trying to see, is this? No, it's not that. But if you go on Malkah's page, on her YouTube page, you'll see her giving shout outs to Meat No Milk Ministries. Here's what I'm trying to say. Why am I bringing this up? Okay, so you got a ministry that is focused on teaching people Hebrew. So that's like a separate business. Why are you using your business to call out people in America, your Israeli-based business to call out black people in America? I don't understand that. That's not even, that's like me using a business we have, and I'm on our Sabbatry page, and I'm like, y'all, make sure you watch for this video tonight. We're going to be calling out Rebirth. I ain't going to do that. But see, this is what I'm saying. The pattern of messiness. It's just all blended together. Let me help you out just a tiny bit. You may not want to mix all these different ministries together, because see, now what's going to happen when Meat No Milk Ministries come up, your mess is going to come up. When your album comes up, your mess is going to come up. And that's by your design. It ain't by my design. You did this. And so here's some album covers. This is, again, coming from her album covers. And I want you to take note of the font that she's using. I want you to take note of this. Okay, this is modern Hebrew. Now, outside of like the commandment keepers or like the more, I would say, Orthodox Black Israelites, that you'll find in places like Chicago or New York or whatever, most Black Hebrews here in the States, they don't use modern Hebrew. They tend to go with Paleo. They tend to go with the older Hebrew. But notice here that she's using the modern Hebrew. You want to know why? Because she's marketing to those people over there in Israel. That's who she's marketing to. So let's rewind a little bit. So you want to dip into mess that Black Americans that you perceive as mess over here, but at the same time, use that to get the likes, use that to get the views and all that, so you can promote your music to Jewish people in Israel. That's what you're doing. Because I'm telling you right now, clearly, you may market this to Black people here, but the text tells me different. The font tells me different. And the fact that you're singing and dancing and tap dancing, whatever you're doing, in Jewish cafes in Israel, that's your market. That's your people. That's your people. But then when you want to put your mouth, anytime you want to talk about people here in the States, Black people, it's always mess. It's always crap. It's always gossipy stuff. But I've been through your whole entire timeline. I ain't see you say now one thing. You ain't call these people out on anything. All the apartheid and stuff that they got going on over there, you ain't got nothing to say on that. There's no video that you have calling them people out on anything, but yet you want to call out Rebirth, yet you want to call out some of these other people, you want to call out us. Anytime you talk about Black folks, you want to call out ARC, you want to call out some of these other people, but when it comes to these people over in Israel that you're singing and tap dancing for, you ain't got no smoke for them. See, that tells me everything I need to know. That tells me everything I need to know. And this is, I'll do that one last, because what I just said to you, it ties into this right here. So like I said, I went through her timelines, okay? I said nowhere on her timeline does she address Israel's illegal war in Gaza. She don't mention anything about that. Nothing at all about that. Israel just came out and acknowledged in Haaretz, in their one of their main newspapers, they acknowledged that they did in fact enact something called Operation Hannibal, if I'm not mistaken. And what that was is Israel created a kill zone. This is when they did the whole, what was it, back in when they did all these Israelis supposedly got killed by people from the Hamas. You remember all of that? And you remember, and they were like, oh my God, Hamas came and killed all these people. They're coming in on parachutes and all that stuff. They just acknowledged in their own newspaper that they are the ones, Israel. They said, we're going to create a whole kill zone and we're calling this Operation Hannibal. Look it up. And what they did was they said, and the reason why they did that, they said, anybody in this space, we wiping out. We don't care if it's our people. We don't care if it's people from the Palestinians. We're going to do all that. And the reason why we're doing this is because we don't want to see our people being captured by Hamas. That makes no sense, but that's what they said. Now, in Israel, there have been a lot of people taking the streets and wanting to put an end to this war. But I have yet to see her lemony behind at all say anything about it on any timeline. What's she doing? You want to know what she's doing? While people are calling out, she in the studio. She in the studio. What's she doing? She up there posing. Cheese. Shalom. Meanwhile, not even under 100, less than 50 miles away from her, you got people being butchered. And not just regular Palestinians, you got black Palestinians over there too that are dying. See, nobody want to talk about them. You got black Palestinians that are over there that are catching bullets too. She ain't saying nothing about that. Nothing. And that's why I said there, number two, she ain't saying nothing on her timeline. I see anything. Is she performing in cafes in Palestine, in Gaza? Is she going over there, performing over there? Oh, no. See, this is what I'm talking about. This elitist mindset that these people have, and these people that I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about, that they have when it comes to black people. Black people are good enough for their own agenda. But then other than that, they just discard you. You're seen as lower. You're seen as less than. And she's taking on that same attitude. When I talk about black Americans, let me just call them out. It's all judgment. It's judgment. The judgment is going to fall down on them. But she over here, Shema, playing a little guitar and, you know, all in their cafes, all cheesing up in their studios. And the racism in Israel. And yes, there is racism in Israel. And yes, I have been in Israel. I've actually visited there some years back and I saw it in action. Okay. Nobody came to me. We had one incident in the airport, but we were getting ready to get up out of there. So it was like one of the soldiers, she getting a female getting all up in my face. Talking about, why are you just getting here just right now, whatever, you know, and, you know, I had to take the L. We did get there a little late, but you know, you don't get in my face. But see, when you hold an AK-15, you know, well, okay. You know what I mean? That changes everything. I'm like, okay, let me just take the L here and let me get on the plane and I'll be good. Okay. I'm going to let it be. Okay. But she ain't got time. But she ain't calling that out. She ain't calling out about how years ago the Ethiopian Jews that were brought over there were being sterilized. You Shema Israel on that one? Are you talking about that? Of course not. But you got all the smoke to run down black Americans while in Israel and using it and using the trauma of individuals and their testimonies to promote your music. Now, this is why I said I'm not going to play her videos. I'm not going to do it. And I already knew this beforehand. I wasn't going to do it because, you know, people, they do stuff like this. But I find this to be interesting here. She says, a thief is a liar. This is what she says. A thief is a liar. She wrote this a year ago. This was posted on her YouTube, on her community page. A thief is a liar. A liar is a thief. Long read. Bear with me and let's talk about it. Recently, I made numerous copyright claims on YouTube of my original content, specifically my live performances of an incomplete version of Shema Israel from 2017 in Brooklyn, New York, and 2018 in Atlanta, Georgia, where I've since deleted my channel. Not only is this redundant version of the Shema Israel full of error in Yah's holy name, but I've also publicly denounced my association with that fraudulent assembly of thieves and witches from where it came. Watch my testimony of healing in Yahweh, Yahshua for the full story. Okay, I don't know, which is probably ARC. Anyway, many YouTube users are failing to recognize the rules of YouTube. When you re-upload original content, such as those live performances and any of my music, often YouTube my distributor notifies me when I can get to it. then provide me with options to file for copyright infringement or other notions. Case by case, I use my discretion whether or not a channel is simply promoting my music or sharing the worshiping Yah's word, and I say hallelujah to that kind of brotherly love and support. And then she goes on, right? And she's going more and more talking about thou shalt not steal and all this other stuff, right? She's and back to judgment. If you dare use my stuff, there's going to be judgment come on you. Judgment. Now, when you go to her videos that she did regarding rebirth, let me pull it up on the screen here. Because again, you ain't going to catch me. In these videos, guess what she's doing? She's using their original content in her videos. So how is it that you're going to say, on one hand, don't use my videos because judgment's going to fall on you and that's stealing and all that other stuff? How are you going to say that about your stuff, but at the same time, you got a different rule for using other people's stuff? And not only did she do that there, she also did it with this gentleman too. You remember early in this broadcast, I was telling you, all she was doing was shadowing this guy with the videos that he was posting. She was shadowing him and literally taking chunks of his video, reposting it, and then she got a whole sermon net that she's attaching to it to give clarity. So you're breaking your own thing. How you gonna get off on people for using your content, but you're using other people's content? And so since we're going to play that game, let me just say this. If you do decide to do some type of response video, make no mistake about it, I will be using the copyright. Okay, I will use that. Okay, since you're going to do that whole game or whatever, we can play that. Okay, we can do that. Okay, I don't anticipate this thing going. I don't have time. I'm a very busy individual, and I deal with a bunch of other things that are more important to me than you're behind. Okay, you're not important to me. Okay, you're not important, but apparently you needed some point of validation, because otherwise you would not have put our names in your mouth, which you did. Okay. So this is for you and your handler. You need to walk away. You can say whatever the heck you want. That's on you. You're grown, you're an adult. But make no mistake about it. Every lie that you call out, it's gonna come. We're gonna expose it 10,000%. And it's best if you leave this part of the internet alone. Leave it all the way alone, and you need to keep on walking. Okay, go on, do your music. If that's what you got, a little music career that you're doing, you want to perform for the Ashkenazis, you want to tap dance for them, you want to do all that, go right on ahead, enjoy yourself, live your best life. Go in Egypt and celebrate the Passover with the Egyptians. I don't get that, but that's you. Okay, if that's what you want to do, you go right on ahead and enjoy your life. But let me tell you something. You put my wife's name in your mouth, you're dealing with the wrong individuals here. You leave her out of it and you leave me out of it. Okay? That's pretty much it. But all of this, what this woman is doing, it's no different than when I see, and this is just the epilogue, if you will, of everything I said here, because we're just kind of bringing this plane into landing. And let me just say this again. Now, I may no longer be a Hebrew, and on our channel, we have laid it all out, our own personal journey into that space and out of that space. So if this is your first time on this platform, you better don't come to me and say, well, I'm confused. Be confused no longer. Because if you go to our front YouTube page, we have a whole playlist where we have identified and going through step by step, detail by detail, all of what we have been experienced, what we our experiences, what we learn from it, and hopefully what other people can learn from it as well. We've done that. So it's no mystery. There's no mystery when it comes to us. All right. It might be a mystery to you because you don't want to watch the videos, but it's no mystery over here. Okay. Let me share. It's right here. If you go to it's called Leaving the Hebrew Matrix, that entire playlist, take the time and go through it. Okay. Leaving the Hebrew Matrix. Okay, but let me say this too. One other thing I want to make. Yeah, that's right. Someone said, I'm happily melanated over here. Me too. A lot of these Hebrews, they're not. They want to be these people so bad. They want to be these Jewish people so bad. They really do. They'll talk like trash about them and saying they're fake and all this other stuff. But then at the end of the day, they right there. Hey, right there, look. Hey, right there. Hey, right there. Right there getting instruction. And then even if you want to talk about the Igbo, the Igbos, they're the real ones. Okay, well, the Igbos, guess where they're getting their instruction from? Well, it's because they got infiltrated. See, they got down there. No. If the Igbo had the truth, they don't need to reach out to Ashkenazis to get the truth. I'm not saying that they're not of Jewish origin and all that. No, I'm not saying that, because clearly there's some connection there. But if you listen to them, they will tell you this white man that's teaching me is my brother. You Black America ain't. Okay. Some of them may say you are, but ultimately, so if you agree with them, y'all all one big happily family. Okay. And your whole family need to get on the Beverly Hillbillies truck and keep it pushing and stay out of my face. But let me just say this, and then I think I'm done here. Let me just say this, is that one of the things I've noticed in that space, like I told you, going back to the history, because again, if you want to understand this stuff, that when you talk about the Hebrew world, you got to go back to the history. And we've covered that so many times, going back to Harlem, all that stuff, right? One of the things that stuck out was that they said that the earliest assemblies was made up of mostly women. All right. Now, again, I ain't got no problem with women, leading stuff and having your own thing. I ain't got no problem with that. That's you. Do you. But there's also other things that come with that as well. An imbalance that comes with that. Just like if it was all men, I would say the same thing. Right? Unless it's, in other words, if you're going to call it a women's ministry and it's all women, okay, fine. Okay, then there's no imbalance because it's a women's ministry. If it's a men's ministry and it's all men, okay, fine. There's no imbalance because it's all men. But if you're going to call it an awakening that's supposed to encompass everybody, but it's made up of mostly women, that's an imbalance. That's an imbalance. You can't get around that. And what I've noticed quite a bit in this space is that you have women such as Malkah, such as some of these other women out here that feel like they can call out men any kind of way they want to. And then when the men respond, all of a sudden, here come the tears. Here come the waterworks. I'm being attacked. They're attacking me. All I was trying to do was follow what y'all was telling me. All that kind of stuff. See, I'm not the one. Okay, that don't work with me. You understand what I'm saying? Now you saw I kept it very respectful, but I was very firm, wasn't I? Kept it very respectful, but I was firm. But see, here's the thing. When you do that, as a woman, when you're going after, there's an aggressiveness that men have when you're doing this that women just a lot of times don't. Because see, for us, we go for the juggler. Let me just tell you, we go for the juggler. Someone swing at me, listen, I'm just letting you know. I don't care who you are. You swing at me like a man, guess what's going to happen? But Dwayne, wow. Oh, you're promoting it. Listen, I'm a man of peace. But see, if you bring war, you're going to get it. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care who you are. You know what I mean? I don't be going out looking for something, nor do I say you got to go and start no, but if you're going to be sitting up here and saying with your full chest, fire all up in your chest and calling judgment on people, well, guess what? We have to look at the truth. We're going to have to call everything out for what it is and no holds barred. We're going to have to do that. That's how we're going to do it. So I don't want to hear you crying victim and you're being attacked and the devil is angry and all this stuff. Well, that's you. You're the devil and you must be angry. Okay. You the one. So if you want to keep doing your videos about rebirth, my advice to you is this. You probably want to take those rebirth videos down. The reason why I say that is because from what I understand, you were never a member of Rebirth in the first place. So why the hell are you doing videos calling them out and you've never been a part of their ministry in the first place? What kind of receipts are you bringing out if you've never been a part of their ministry in the first place? That don't make any sense. I'm going to give you the inside scoop, y'all. This is what she's putting out. I'm going to give you the inside scoop on what's really going on behind the scenes and all of that. She ain't saying nothing. She's taking the hurt and the pain of this couple and this brother who went through the process, placing it, reposting it on her platform after then she done just did a whole post saying, don't you dare take my stuff. And using it to market her music. That's some, like they say now, that's a new thing. That's some nasty work. That's some nasty work to do something like that. And it's very disrespectful of that couple. It's disrespectful of this guy, Dennis. It's disrespectful for anybody else that you're going to snatch and grab their stuff and repost it on your platform and sit on your high, narrow throne and think you're telling the truth about what's really going on and all this stuff. And you all the way up in Israel dancing with the Israelis. Stay over there. That's your best bet. Stay over there and stay in their affairs. My challenge to you is to go to Dimona and call Dimona out. How about that one? You want to do a video where you're calling out Hebrew ministries? How about call out the Village of Peace in Dimona, Israel? I wonder if you would do something like that. Hey, that's a challenge. I wonder if, let's go here. Because I forgot I brought this book up a lot. Let's see. Okay, let me see. It's right here. Here's the book right here. Let me pull it up on the screen. I'm wrapping up. Israel's Secret Cult. The incredible story of a former member of the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem. Well, this woman is no longer with us because she's passed away. But she did a whole book where she's outlining all the stuff that she endured in her ordeal right there in Dimona in Israel, where you are. But you ain't got nothing to say about them, do you? Because, see, you know how they get down over there. But you got all the smoke for Black Americans over here. Take your stuff and go sit down somewhere, okay? Stay in the cafe and keep on singing. But we're not entertained over here, okay? We're not entertained. Take your stuff, stay over there, and keep doing what you're doing with your whole music, Shema music stuff, okay? Stay over there and stay out of our business over here, because it's just not gonna work for you, okay? I'm just gonna leave it at that. All right, so I'm done with this. So what I want to do, because unlike her, she has the comments turned off on her video. Notice the comments aren't turned off here. Now, the only time I will block people is that when you do not stay on topic. If you don't stay on topic of what the video is about, then yes, I will remove your comment. But other than that, you can stay on there as long as you stay respectful and you stay on topic. You can stay on there. You can stay on there. That's fine. But she and her handler, they will put out videos where they're calling out people, but they will always turn off the comments. because they don't want to handle, they can't handle the criticism. But see, we don't run here. So the comments are on, the chat is open. And what I'm gonna do now, give me a moment here. I am going to get my phone here, which is right here, turn it on. And anybody that wishes to call in and maybe comment on what you've heard, maybe you have something to share on that. Maybe I'm off. Maybe Malkah is watching and she would like to call in. Here's your opportunity to clear some things up. And I encourage you to do so. Now, I don't want to hear any mess about, well, the time zone difference and I was asleep and I wasn't aware and all this other stuff. You know exactly what we're doing over here. You know exactly what's going on. You said all that with your full chest and now all of a sudden your phone broke. Okay, no, we ain't going to do that. So I'm going to give you an opportunity. I'm going to give anybody, I don't care who it is, call in any questions, literally any questions that you have from me regarding this topic. Maybe I wasn't clear on something. Maybe you disagree with something I said. You are more than welcome to call in. I'm getting ready to put the number up here momentarily as soon as I get it set up. You are more than welcome to give us a call and let's go. I'm not, there's no yelling. We don't do the yelling here. Okay. It's a nice evening and we want to end it nice and calm. But, but don't get mad and scared, if I disagree with you. Okay. But again, stay on topic. If you go off topic, then I'm going to have to disconnect the call. Okay. It's very simple and very easy and anybody can follow that. Okay. So the phone number is up on the screen and I'm inviting anybody that would like to call in. If you have any questions, you need some clarification on something, maybe you don't heard something about us, you think we're doing something in the background and all, you can call in and we could talk like adults and we can get all of that cleared up right quick. And that way, when the call is over, you are more than clear and you got all the facts. Okay. So I'm here. I'll put on some music while we wait. And like I said, anybody, you can call in. This is like a free for all call in. So anybody, if you want to call in about whatever, you can just call in or whatever. It's cool, but like I said, try to stay on topic, because we typically don't, we don't do videos like this. I don't have time to do videos like this where I'm calling out different, I don't do that, but but don't be lying on us. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not a good move. Okay, so I'm trying to find some music here. Hold on for a sec. Let's see. Okay, we got a phone call in. All right, hold on. Okay, caller, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Hey, how you doing?
All right, how are you?
All right. What you got for us?
Well, I got a couple of things, but I'm Dora of L. I normally send you guys a lot of stuff, a lot of materials and books and
yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm just throwing that in there. But my real question is that why? Well, to me, because I remember when she was with Art, her face looks totally different. She looks like, did she do any facial reconstruction surgery or something?
I don't know. Because like I said, I don't know her like that.
Right. Because if you look at any of her older pictures of herself, she don't look anything. When she was married with the guy who was running Art, her face looks totally different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea at all, as far as facial change or whatever. I don't know. If I don't know, I probably wouldn't even want to comment on that for that matter. But yeah, but no, I don't know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, like I said, if you ever looked at any of her, like I said, her old photos or when she was, married to the guy, her face doesn't look like anything like it used to. Also, are you insinuating, because I don't want to put words in your mouth or get the wrong impression, because you're saying it's a female movement? Are you saying because, she did go to the other side, she did go left? So are you saying it's a homosexual movement?
I didn't say homosexual. I said it's a mostly female movement. When you're looking at the Hebrew space, it's a mostly female.
Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to say, are you insinuating then it seems to be like it's a homosexual type of movement?
I'm saying it's mostly females. As far as what they do in the bedroom, I'm not even talking about that at all. I'm saying that most of the people that you find in the Hebrew world are females. And you can see that in the chat. You can see that in comments. You can see that on other people's channels. You can see some of the leading voices in the Hebrew space outside of the camps. Most of the voices that you see, most of the people that you see contributing are females. Now, what they do sexually, I don't know, and I don't even want to go there with that.
Okay. All right. Well, I do thank you for taking my call. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, you take care. Thanks for calling in. Yeah, I'm not, I'm not going to speculate like facial, whatever. I don't even know. I don't pay that a close attention like that. Some, depending on the person, if it really stands out to me, it's like, oh, that's something. But I wouldn't, even if it was something, I'm only sticking to what she said about us. As far as the whole face thing, I don't know, so anyway, so let's continue here and let's go to, let me see if I can put some music on. I got some music I can play here. Okay, that's all right. Hey, that's very appropriate. Okay, so that was one call. We got another caller in. Let's go ahead and get the caller in. Hey, caller, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. What you got for us? Make sure you turn the volume down if you got it up in the background, okay?
Yes, I just turned it off.
Okay. All right. What
so
you got?
I just wanted to call to answer the brother question because I do have some experience with the ark.
Mm-hmm.
So the facial recognition that he's talking about, he's mixing two women up.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she wasn't married to the ark's leader.
Oh, he's talking about I think her name was Huldah.
Yeah. So
okay.
He thinks that's Huldah. That's why he's saying they look different.
Oh. Okay.
So,
Yeah. Man, I don't know.
So that's all I had to add. But
okay.
Just let him know it's two different people he's thinking about.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, at least we got that cleared up. Appreciate the call, man. You got anything else for us?
Nah.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for calling in. Take care now. All right. Yeah. So we're back at the face again. So, okay. So that face gate has been solved. There you go. So face gate has been solved here. So, like I said, that's not my wheelhouse, and I ain't trying to go into that house. Okay, so I'm more sticking to some of the more solid things that we were talking about in this broadcast. So anyway, phone line is back open. Remember, we only have one phone line. We only got one phone line, so I ain't got a whole bank of callers back here. I only got one phone. Okay, so if you want to call in and I'm speaking to someone else, you're gonna have to wait your turn. Okay, but I'll take your call. And so we're just here. We're going to chill for a little bit. Anybody else want to call in? Anything you want to add? Anything you want to question regarding the information that was provided here? I am inviting even Malkah to call in. Okay. I don't know where in the world she's located now. She might be watching. She might not be. But she is more than welcome to call in. And but anybody else that wants to call in, maybe you have gone through a similar experience. Maybe you want to talk about some of the experiences you've had in the Hebrew world, in the Hebrew space. Maybe you want to talk or share about that. We'll take anything, and let's talk about it. Again, we try to keep very respectful here, but we're going to keep it on the facts. We're going to keep it on truth at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, whatever you want to believe, if you still want to embrace your Hebrewness, that's you. Embrace it. Love it. Okay, do it. But at the same time, you're not going to lie on us. Okay. That ain't happening. Okay. We're not going to do that. Okay. But we can be respectful of one another, and we can keep it moving at the same time. All right. All right. Phone line is still open. Let me see my song. Get ready to wind up here. Let me find something else here. And y'all know, people that follow us, we give people every opportunity. And typically what happens is the phones go real quiet. People talk about other things, but they won't talk about what we talked about. Let's see what else. What other music I got? Oh, I forgot about this one. All right, let me look in the chat. I'm just looking through the chat right now, and at the same time waiting for anybody else to call in. Don't be scared now, because some of y'all got a whole lot of mouth in your DMs, but then when we open the phone lines up, all of a sudden it's ghost town. Oh, someone asked, I'll turn this down here. They said, was she a part of Demona? That I'm not sure of, but I do know the woman I'm calling the handler. I believe she has some loose ties to them. Cause see, she also is taking some videos down, cause she had videos up about her dad and everything, and some stuff he was in. And so. But anyway, but no, is she tied directly to the people of Demona? That I don't know. But there are, but typically when you have Black Americans that have purposely relocated to Israel, I'm telling you, they have some brushes with the people of Demona. Because the people of Demona, they all Black Americans. You ain't gonna find just regular Black Americans purposely saying I'm gonna move to Israel, unless they're doing it because they just find some kind of like affinity towards Israel, the Jewish people. You know what I mean? Black Americans will move to France, Germany, Spain, we'll move to Russia, but you ain't gonna see too many videos on YouTube of my experience in living in Israel. You know what I mean? Unless you're claiming to be like a Hebrew or something. But anyway, I'll just hang around here for a few more moments, because I'm giving people every opportunity. But it's time to be set free from this nonsense. You know what I mean? And the gossipy lying and all of that stuff. This is what's part of what they're calling the awakening. That's not an awakening when you're doing stuff like this. Oh, and I meant to mention too, as we're waiting for the next caller, there was a couple of points I wanted to mention too here. In her video, I'm talking about Malkah now. She made a claim about a woman. She made a claim about a woman, and she was saying, I'm gonna turn this song down. And she was saying that this woman was the daughter of somebody within Rebirth. Well, that was a lie. That was not a truth. That was a lie. She said that this was a daughter. No, and it wasn't. So she messed that up. And then there was another case where she said that it's a guy, he goes by the name of Malkah or something like that. And she was saying, see, he's right here in the video. See, he's caught up in that mess too. Malkah, the guy called Malkah, actually addressed it in the comment section and said, listen, sis, I'm hearing what you're saying, but that ain't me. I wasn't in there. I wasn't a part of that ministry at that time. What are you talking about? And I think at that point, that's when she decided to take. So she just messy. You just posting all kinds of stuff up and just saying whatever comes to the top of your mind. And, and it's just not even true and accurate. But see, this is what I'm saying. You could say whatever you want on social media, but see, this is also the real world too. And one day you're going to say something about somebody and you're going to find out it's the wrong person. I should have kept my mouth shut. And I'm hoping this is one of those times for her that she'll just leave it alone and walk away. Because I don't know you like that. Okay. I don't. And you just go on and keep making your music for the Jewish people in Israel. Okay. And ignore all the people next door to you that are getting blown to bits, you know. But you need to keep all your attention over there in Israel and leave Black Americans over here alone. Okay. So I'll give you another minute for anybody to call in. I do this all the time and people go real quiet. Someone asks, is she mixed? She looks like she's mixed, but I don't know. She might be half Jewish, all I know. All right, let's see. What's this next song here? I'll just go off on that. Okay, well, I'm done, y'all. I ain't gonna sit up here and be begging folks, okay? I ain't gonna be begging folk to call in. Please call me in or whatever. Please call me in. So now, don't be running your mouth now, because you had every opportunity now. If it wasn't clear for you, anything I said, I made it crystal clear. And that's it. I'm just gonna leave it at that. All right. Like I said again, believe what you want. You want to play Hebrew, you want to play Jewish man or Jewish woman, you go right on ahead and you do all of that. Go ahead. Enjoy yourself. But see, we're not in the imaginative world. We live in the real world, which means we're going to look at our actual factual history. All right. And that's what we're going to stand on and keep pushing. That's all we're going to do. All right, y'all. I think that's all I got for you. And I turned the phone off. You guys take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll just go off with this song. Okay. Take care.
Trials and tribulations, I won't give a damn. I'll keep pushing forward, I'll keep reaching for the stars, because I believe that someday